Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. My name is Jason. I'm a full-time reseller going live this morning to ship out my 13 orders that have come in yesterday and today. So 10 yesterday, actually one or two just got shipped out. So I actually did more than 10 yesterday. I got 3 that have already come in today, and it's time to ship these orders out. Hope you're having a great Wednesday, wherever you're watching from. I'm in Fayetteville, Arkansas, and it's a beautiful day here. So welcome in. Thanks for joining the live. And actually, I forgot to clear off my screen here, or my camera. So 1 second. There we go. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We're sharing. I'm sharing the Depop and the eBay sales that have come in. So good morning. Good morning. I've got some fun items in the background there. You can see one of these orders, one of these items is getting shipped out today. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to give you a tip on how to possibly get an extra sale on someone that's purchased something. I'll be sharing that in just a second. But check out this cool thing that I found yesterday. This massively huge Sylvester the Cat plush. I say plush, but it's like a big doll. Went and got that, scooped that up yesterday, and I'm hoping to make some good money on that one. If you're watching, you're new to me, you haven't subscribed yet, or you haven't followed either on Facebook or YouTube, make sure to click the subscribe or the follow button. Make sure to like this live wherever you're watching from. And of course, if you know anyone, other resellers, or just people who are reseller curious, I'm kind of fascinated by this reseller world, make sure to share this live so that they can be brought in as well. Good morning, Kellen. Hope you're doing well. If you have any questions whatsoever, don't hesitate to put them in the chat. I'll definitely get to those and answer those as best I can. And if you just want to say hi, you want to share some things going on in your world, of course, that's always welcome too. This is an area where we connect with one another. Share what we're learning, share our successes, celebrate with one another, and connect as resellers, whether you're full-time or part-time. I'm a full-time reseller here in Fayetteville, Arkansas, in the Ozarks. Might have seen in the title. You might have seen in the title that Depop is on a hot streak. Mercari and Depop have been doing well for me. I had a good weekend with those two platforms. If I make any sales there, it's good, definitely above average. But for some reason, I've had consecutive days where I've made sales on Mercari and Depop. I don't have a Mercari sale today, so that streak ended yesterday. I had maybe 3 or 4 straight days of a Mercari sale, but I've had probably 3 to 4 straight days of at least one Depop sale. So I don't know how long it's going to last, but right now I'm going to take it. One yesterday, 2 the day before that, and then I had looks like 1 that came in over the weekend. What's up, Trisha? All right, so as is the case, I always ship out the platform that made the least amount of sales first. That's Depop. I got 1 sale to ship out. This came out of my closet. It was an item I picked up. I bought a pair of like ski bibs, brand new with tags, on sale back in the spring as they were coming out of like the clearance for ski season. I paid $40 for these. Honestly, I bought these for myself, but I got home, they were too big, couldn't return them. And so I threw them up and sold them for more than what I paid. So I made a little bit of money back on my personal investment. Carolyn, what's going on? Ashley, good morning. Good morning. So the brand on these, you can't really tell, but these are just like some insulated waterproof ski bibs, brand new with tags. And the brand is Boulder Gear. So the Boulder Gear men's Pinnacle bib pant I sold for $65, paid $40 on these. I knew when I was going to list these that they were obviously going to take months. Picked them up almost 6 months ago, May 23rd. So no one's buying ski pants in the middle of the summer. But here it is, it's November, and they finally sold on Depop, which I love because I make more money there. And I love because I get my personal money back that I had invested in these. Josephine, good morning. Carolyn says, morning, getting back to catching everyone. I like that. Welcome back. So these did sell boosted. This was an item that the buyer on Depop had actually made an offer like 3 days ago. I accepted it at 65, then they never paid, and then they probably just forgot about them. The offer expires after a day. They came back and made another offer yesterday, and I accepted, thinking, okay, if they're coming back for a second offer, they're probably going to pay. Is my ruler glued to the table? No, so I've got a couple rulers here. Yes, this one not glued, but it's taped. This is just like I printed out a ruler, cut it out, and then taped it with some clear tape. Or you can do this one. I put down some masking. Is it masking tape? Like the white tape? Yeah, masking tape. And then I just personally pulled out a ruler and wrote it, marked it off. Imelda, good morning. Good morning. A lot of people jumping in. This makes it even more fun for me because there's more to talk about with you all here. More to talk about. Makes it more exciting. Thanks for popping in and saying hello. All right, so we're going to Export PA. Export PA. Don't know where that is. I will say, based on that comment about the ruler, this has been a game changer for me. Having this here, this is now how I take my photos. I lay my shirts, pants, whatever out on the table. I stretch it out to where it needs to go. I take a picture. I don't have to hold a ruler. I don't have to find it. It's not in the way. I did buy a yardstick and used it for about 2 weeks and honestly just hated it. So I ended up just saying, screw this. I'm going to put the ruler down. And this has been amazing. There you go. There's a better view for YouTube. So honestly, just if you're wanting something like this, just Google printable ruler, and you may have to put in something like printable yardstick or something like that, because ruler you're typically going to get like 12 inches. Yeah, so definitely a great thing for taking pictures, but also when you're doing like dimensions and stuff of boxes and you need to know quickly, you don't need a yardstick, just plop the box up here and you've got it ready to go. Okay, so that was my Depop order. It's out the door on an item that I picked up 6 months ago for $40 plus tax. Sold it for $65. I ended up making $16.74 back of my own personal money. So if you're just joining me, that was my personal item I bought actually to keep for myself. Pants were too big. So since I got it on clearance, I couldn't return it. And yeah, I sold it for myself. So I ended up making $16 on my investment. Yeah, thanks, Kim. I agree. It's a good tool. It's really handy to have. Those just jumping in. I got a big item back here to ship out today. This was a big sale yesterday. You can see it right there, that golf bag. I'm going to be showing you how I ship out golf bags. You can make really good money on golf bags. Sometimes they do take a little bit of time to sell. I was kind of shocked that it sold in the fall. I was thinking I was going to be sitting on that until the spring, but got a pretty decent offer on it and it's going out. I don't know if anyone's an Iowa State Cyclones fan, but there it is. Sorry. The pointing is kind of different for YouTube and Facebook. It's off. It's not matching up. Okay. So that's Depop. It's going out. We'll put it on the doorstep here pretty soon. We're going to ship out eBay orders. I will say, and with anticipation of eBay charging more on their promoted rate changing, where pretty much every item is going to sell promoted. I have increased my shipping. So I went in, not on every template, but on 2 or 3 different templates, I went in and increased my shipping by like 50 cents to help with the cost of selling. So I think my rates are still pretty competitive, but I did increase um, a couple of different shipping templates by like 50 cents. Usually I'll increase my rates like every 2 years. I'll go up like 50 cents or a buck, just to stay with the rising cost of having a business. I'm going to be sharing my sales with you, but I want to hear from you. It's always fun to hear what is going on in your world. So, regardless of where you're watching from, what's a big sale you've had this week, or a big sale or an item you found to sell online? I'm gonna show you mine right here. I got this yesterday. This Sylvester the cat tall. It's like 5 foot tall. I mean, it's kind of slouching right now, but take a look at this guy. Look at this thing. 25 bucks on this Sylvester the cat. It's almost as tall as I am. That was my big find of the week, and it's kind of hard to know how much is that going to go for. I saw it 2 days ago. I was there in the afternoon at Goodwill. I didn't pick it up. I was kind of in a hurry, and I thought I'll go home and look it up, see what I can find. And I actually had the thought, those of you that know Randy Thrifting Treasure, another influencer online, he sells a lot of like big collectible stuff. He sold a lot of like, I don't know what you call that, but things like that. So I reached out to him and was just like, hey, I sent him a picture. I said, I've got this. What do you think about this? 25 bucks. Would you pick it up? Seems like something that's up your alley. And so he was able to give me some really good advice. And at like a range, because when I looked up sold comps, there was no comps for a 5 foot tall doll. Yeah, someone out there wants it. Somebody's going to want something like that. That's the great thing about finding rare pieces like that, is no one is selling this 5 foot tall Sylvester the cat plush. Trisha coming in with some sales and finds. Sold a Wrangler Pearl Snap shirt this morning for 28, shipped on Depop. Nice. Got another Depop sale. Hubby found a sterling silver. I did see that post. That's crazy. And after seeing that post, I was thinking there is so much stuff out there that's worth money that we're just passing by and we have no clue about. And so when I saw Trisha's post on the sterling silver thimble, which was, really small, it made me think I need to learn more about other things. Obviously, we all know that sterling silver has value, but believe you found it in a bag, or your husband found it in a bag of other stuff, and could have easily been passed by many people. Yeah, bag of sewing stuff for $250 should sell for $150 to $400. That's wild. Kellen sold this week 2 vintage Department 56 Christmas Village things found in the trash. So all profit. If you don't know Department 56, this is the season. You've got about a month to get those, less than a month to find and to flip those online. Department 56, not just Christmas. I have sold like an Easter themed one for like $170 way back in the day. So there are other holiday themed ones, but 'tis the season for Christmas villages. Found an ophthalmology instrument inside a bag from the Goodwill bin and sold in 12 hours for $40. Heck yeah, you guys have got some great sales today or this week. Okay, let's start off with a fast flip. This was an item that went yesterday for $25. The brand is Prana, and they make outdoor apparel. These are a pair of convertible hiking pants. So the zip offs, I had them for 33, made an offer of 25. I almost countered at that 28, 29, and I just took it. I'm like, you know what? Cash flow. Let's get it. You're going to hear me say that a lot, simply because I can't afford to lose the sale on a decent offer. And $25 on a $33 price is a decent offer. It's a good offer. So I took it. I think I paid $6 or $7 for these pants. And these sold within a week. So I listed them on 11/11. They sold on 11/18. Mariah, good morning. Carolyn, still haven't listed yet. Been back to my house to organize items, purchase bins, Costco on sale, but did market. Sorry, I have to click see more to find the rest. Did marketplace with bigger items, Department 56, animated town. So happy to get rid of it. LOL. Nice. Yeah, some of those, especially the more rare, like Department 56 items, can go for really good money. You may be surprised. Maybe you wouldn't be surprised. I know there are a lot of resellers talking about it. I'll tell you, they are a pain to have to buy, take home, transport, unload, list, package, ship. They are a pain. But when that sale goes off and you made 150 on something like that, and it's the same amount that you would have sold in 4, 5, 6 shirts or pants or whatever, definitely is a fun thing to hear that cha-ching. All right, we're going to ship the golf bag last. That was my biggest sale yesterday. I'm going to do that last just because these are easier to get out. Just out of curiosity, I kind of talked about the cat. What would you all list that at? No comps out there. You can find some identical cats, just like that, same outfit. It's like the Jester theme, around 75 to $100 for like a 28-inch doll. This one's obviously a lot bigger, 5 feet tall. What would you price that at? If you were listing it and you have no other information, you don't have any sold comps except for what I just shared with you. Josephine sold a blouse on eBay for $15.99, bought the label from eBay, then forgot to get QR. So I have to print the label on a printer because I can't find any way to get the QR. You need the QR to get the label. You should be able to go back, unless I'm just misunderstanding what's going on in that. You should be able to go back and find that label again. You can reprint it. Department 56 takes up a lot of room in bins. That's very true. Kellen says $120 and see what happens. I paid 25 for it, so I'm obviously going to charge a buttload for shipping. All right, on the Prana convertible pants, sold in a week for 25. I'm going to say I paid 7 because that's kind of the standard rate for pants here. It gives me a profit of $13.26. Man, I would have thought it was more than that. Okay, moving on. This was an Eddie Bauer Travix shirt. Going to be really hard to see, but I don't typically pick up Eddie Bauer except when I see like the Travix, which is that little yellow tag that's got 2 triangles, one going up, one going down. That's more of their like outdoor gear brand. So it's probably got some stretch to it. It's got some moisture wicking. And you may not find Travix on the label. Just know that this yellow little tag underneath Eddie Bauer is the Travix line. So I sold this shirt. It was new with the sticker on. You can see the size sticker right there. So whenever I don't have a tag, like I don't have an Eddie Bauer tag, but I have like a sticker, I'll usually do new without tags. And then I'll put in the description, still has the size sticker on the pocket. So I sold it new without tags and I got $25.65 on this Eddie Bauer shirt within less than a month of listing it. Man, back in the day, I used to pick up a ton of Eddie Bauer. Now it's very few and far between. Mariah sold a woven leather brace for $79. Bought for $2. I most always pick them up when I see them in a variety of materials. A woven leather brace. Wow. Nice. 2 into 79. Heck yeah. This is why reselling is so much fun, because You can spend $2 and turn it into 80 just like that for a $2 investment, or a $250 investment and turn it into 150 to 400. I mean, come on. That's got to be that's like one of the most rewarding parts of reselling, is when you find something that's not your bread and butter. It's just kind of like something that you could easily miss. You find it, pick it up, sell it, and it goes for that much money. Oh, I see. You don't have a printer at home. Okay, that makes sense. You use the QR and have it printed at the courier. You should have an option to go back and get the QR code. I'm going to double check this and see if that's an option. Maybe you've already checked this. Maybe you don't. Okay, I see. Maybe it's not there. All right, I take that back. You know more than I do. You have an option to go back and get the label, but I guess the QR disappears. Yeah, that's a good question, Kellen. I'm kind of wondering the same thing, and a question I should have asked: are braces like suspenders, or what are those? The braces that you're talking about, Mariah? They don't have clips. They have a buttonhole, and the pants you wear them with have buttons on the inside waistband. Okay. All right. Profit on that Eddie Bauer shirt within 30 days is about $15, 15 and change. Next up, old flip alert. Yeah, Mariah, thanks for sharing that. We're all learning from you here. Old flip alert. You can't see it, but it's a Duluth, like a hoodie sweatshirt pullover here that's got some buttons. Heavy. Listed this on May of 2024, May 23rd. Finally sold for $22.68. Duluth is another brand that I'll pick up some of their like more outer gear, like their jackets and heavier items. I'll pick up their like flex fire hose pants, both men's and women's. I'll pick up some of their like flex dry on the fly line. Jeans, I don't pick up. A lot of their shirts, I don't pick up. Try and find those more obscure items from them. I've got way too many Duluth jeans sitting in my store, not selling. That's a problem. Going to Spring Lake, Michigan. Is it story time? It is story time. So with these next two sales, buyer reached out. Buyer reached out on these pants. So interesting thing about these, the tag said 34 by 32 on the inside. When I measured them, they were actually 34 by 29. This was before I was putting pictures of measurements in the listing. So he reaches out. I had put in the title actual 34 by 29. So of course they're going to see the measurement in the title, but then they're going to see a picture that shows 34 by 32. So he reached out and just basically said, hey, can you confirm with a picture the measurement on these? Which I totally get. I had to buyer pays return shipping. He doesn't want to be out if it's the wrong size. So I said, not a problem. So I grabbed him. I took a picture of the waist. I took a picture of the inseam, sent it his way. But as I was pulling this out, I remembered I also had this exact pair, same thing, 34 by 29 gray. So I just said, here's the pictures of the measurements on these. And if you're interested, I also have this pair as well in the exact same size, same style, just different color. So he said, What could you do if, and I basically just said I'll combine shipping to $10 if you want to buy both. And he said, okay, what can you do if I buy both? So I gave him a pretty good deal. I did 25 a piece. I had them at 33 each. I did them at 25 a piece plus 10 shipping, $60 all in on two pairs of pants that I had priced at 66 plus shipping if you combine them in my store. So he bought both of them. He said that was fair. Came back, bought them both. And I'm happy. Two pairs of pants going out. It doesn't always happen that way where someone will, some people are just looking for one item. They're not coming to buy two or three. But if I know I have multiples and different colors or styles of the same item, I'll always say like, hey, just in case you're looking, I do have other shirts or other pants very similar to the one you're looking at. And this time it paid off. Going to Maine. And the way that we did this is he bought them both separately and I just gave him a discounted rate. So now I need to go in and attach the tracking on the second pair since I did combine it. Boom. All right, good to go there. Okay, next up, man, I was just after that sale came in last night, I was in kind of like a happy mood of just accepting stuff. This came in at 25, same deal. I had these at 33, these Perry Ellis brand new pants, and I was like, let's just accept it. Let's just get some cash coming in. Whenever you get on like a sales streak and you're just like trigger happy to just accepting offers. I don't know if you all get that way. And you accept offers a little more liberally, than you would if they just came in. Usually I'd counter at like 29 on a $33 price. I just accepted. Going up to Delaware. Got a lot of Northeast shipments this morning. I know some resellers have talked about like those department store brands like Perry Ellis. I'm trying to think like Stafford. Gosh, what other Roundtree and York. Some of these brands that maybe you would see and pass on. If they're new with tags. Oh shoot, my postal lady is here. If they're new with tags, I'm typically picking them up. Hang on just a sec, guys. I may go drop these off with her real quick just to get these out that I have. All right, sorry about that. Probably have to, when I go pick up my daughter from daycare, I'll have to drop off the rest of those. She always comes like really quick. She's on it. She's been really good to me. Okay. Skip those for right now. Let's just jump ahead to um, some of these other easier ones to ship. Okay. Next up, another item that took a few months to sell. I don't pick up a lot of women's, but J. Crew got a women's like leopard print sweatshirt. Excellent condition. This is the J. Crew vintage fleece. Right there. Went for 1966. If I can get women's stuff like really cheap, I'll consider it. So I'm guessing I probably got this on sale half price. It was probably one of the half price tags at the store. Going to Jane in Chicago, Illinois. Kellen, that's a great question. I actually had someone asking on a video, someone else, the difference between scheduling and drafting. So I don't schedule, but I'll talk about that. You can schedule your listings to go live at a certain time. So in the listing down at the bottom, there's an option you can trying to figure out where it is. We'll just jump into a listing real quick and see. I am not seeing it, but it's somewhere in here. Somewhere on the listing, you'll see a scheduling option. Obviously, you can Google that and find it. Basically, you can go into each listing and schedule it to go live at a certain time. So you kind of have three options when you're listing items. You can push it through right away. Obviously, that's what a lot of people do. You can draft it, which means you save it in kind of like a bank of drafts until you decide to manually go in and push it through. That's what I do. I draft all of my listings. Or you can schedule it. And basically, scheduling is just you're going to tell eBay when to list that item. So this is really handy, and drafting is really handy because you want to be active as many days as you can. So to push through new, fresh listings every day is kind of the goal, at least for me, to have something fresh every day. So drafting and scheduling, there's not really, I wouldn't say there's an, I guess the advantage to scheduling is you set it and then you forget it and it goes live. With drafting, it's still just sitting in there. You have to go in and push it through. I did a video on how I list, and I had a bunch of people say that they do schedule. I just don't do that. So, oh, I'm sorry. You didn't even say you're not even talking listings, Kellen. My bad. You're talking about USPS pickups. Okay, hello, I'm back. You have to go. So I'm back now. I'm tracking with you. Sorry about that. You have to go into USPS, create an account, and then from there you can schedule out each day, or you can do like I do. And I'm just laughing at misreading that completely and butchering it. I go in and schedule a month at a time. So I put a notification on my phone to remind me at the end of each month to go in and schedule for the next month. Um, and, and basically, I mean, everyone's going to be different based on where you're at and the postal worker that's on your route. I just go in and say 14 packages. I put like a 20, 25 pound weight on the total weight. Obviously, I'm not going to know how many sales I have each day ahead of time. So my postal worker knows that, and she's fine with it. So if I ever have more than 14, I just put a little post-it note on it that tells how many packages are there. So that's how I do that. It's pretty simple. Once you set up your account, you've got all your information in there. It's simple to just go in and click the days that you want to schedule out. Thanks for hanging with me on that. Women's J. Crew has sold really well for me. Low sales price, but fast sales. Yeah, that's I don't get a lot of women's J. Crew, but that one wasn't bad. Do I have a video about Depop? I'm thinking to sell on Depop, but I don't have any idea about Depop yet. I've only heard that their fees are cheaper. Yes, their fees are cheaper, um, depending. Depop selling fees, I just Googled, no selling fees for users in the US, but they do have a 3.3% uh, processing fee. So 3.3% processing fee plus 45 cents per transaction in the US. So I'm not going to claim to be a Depop expert, but I can tell you what I've learned based on what's been working for me. And I say working, meaning a lot of times I don't make sales on Depop. I just happen to be on a hot streak right now. I boost my whole store. Boosting is like eBay's promoting. Boosted rate is 8%. So it doesn't always sell boosted. I would say about 60 to 70% of my items sell boosted. So I end up paying extra 8%. So 11.3% total plus 45 cents a transaction. So that's the first tip I would say. If you're going to do Depop, you need to boost. And then I also mark down my whole store like 5%, 10% just to have a sale active. If you do 10%, then it automatically notifies everyone watching those items that there's a sale going on, which could lead to some conversions. Other than that, I mean, I've sold a lot of stuff on Depop. People think of it like a vintage market, and it primarily is that for the younger generation. But you'd be surprised there are people buying things that aren't vintage, just regular, ordinary shirts and things like that. So, from my limited experience with Depop, that's the two tips I would say: discount if you can, and boost. There's a lot of like filters that you can fill out, like the age of the item, if it's like a vintage 80s, 90s, 2000s, Y2K. You can do like the type, whether it's sportswear or everyday wear. I don't fill those out really. I make it really quick and I list it. So if I were doing that, maybe that would help. Um, yeah. Okay. Next item up. Now we're starting on items that came in this morning. Took an offer on this brand new diesel t-shirt. I've got like, I think I picked up 7 or 8 of these for, I want to say 13 each, from TJ Maxx. This one sold for 30. I've sold a few of these at 40. This one took the best offer of 30. They retail for 80 bucks. So regardless, 30 or 40, someone's getting a deal. And I basically thought if I can sell all of these, average $35 on these, that makes it worth spending 13 a piece to get them. So I only made $14 on my 13 spent. But again, 30 is the low end of what I'm taking on these. Depop International too. You can do Depop International. Since I use Nifty, it doesn't. I'll have to look again. I'm typically just going really quickly, but I don't have international shipping turned on. But you can select international shipping if you want to use like Pirate Ship to ship those items. Just keep in mind, if you turn on international shipping, you will have to do it yourself. Depop doesn't provide like an international label for you. Okay. Next item up. I picked up like 30 of these hats. This one's a Mac. I've got Ford. I've got Chevy. They're all like this canvasy brown, really cool looking hat. I've sold a few of these already. 15 bucks on this. I paid $3 a piece. So I'm going to profit around 9 to 10 bucks. And it's telling me that the address is too long. by 4 characters. So we're going to tighten this up. Okay, I think that'll do it. When I'm shipping hats, I always do inside a poly mailer. All of these supplies are listed. If you guys are interested in any of these, I've got them listed on my channel, on my bio. Do a hat in a poly mailer. And then I do the poly mailer in a box. And you want to make sure to get a box that when you put the hat in it, it's going to be 8 ounces or less to get the cheapest rate. If it hits 9 ounces, it's going to be 75 cents to $1 more. So you really have to hit that 8-ounce mark. So I've got these boxes linked if you are interested in them on my bio. And you can get like a pack of 25 for like 25, 30 bucks, something like that. This is the method I've been doing for, gosh, probably 3-4 years now. And you want to make sure that you get a small enough box, big enough box that it fits the hat in there, but small enough that it's not over 8 ounces. So if you get too big of a box, it's going to weigh too much. And you're going to end up spending more on shipping than you really need to. I don't, Josephine, I appreciate you asking. I don't have a referral code for Depop. I wish I did, but I don't. So my label's 515 at 8 ounces. If I bump that up to 9 ounces, it goes to 605. So talk about eating your margin up. Make sure you get the right box if you're shipping out hats. That's really crucial. All right, this came in just before the live. I guess there's a lesson here, maybe. This shirt, I had it 25 bucks. This brand is Burlebo, Burlebo. It's kind of like a southern outdoor brand. Think like like a southern fish. I guess it doesn't have to be southern. I'm just saying southern because it's more made in the South. Fishing, hunting, outdoors person. There's a look at the tag, Burlebo. I had this at 25, long sleeve shirt. I had several people making $15, $14, $13 offers on it. I kept countering at 19. They weren't taking it. And then finally this morning, someone offered 20 and it got snatched up. So happy that I was patient with this. I would have dropped down to say like 18, but nobody was coming up to get it. And finally, someone made the purchase. Not a huge profit margin. Going to Corinth, Mississippi. I will say this brand typically sells pretty fast for me. It's not a well-known brand. I haven't seen it anywhere outside of here. There's a store that sells this brand, this merch, and I'm sure there are other places that sell it, but it's not one that I think is very well known. So it's like when you post something, people get interested because there aren't a lot of people selling them. All right, we've got 2 more items to ship. Start off with these shoes that sold last night. Really good sale on these. And these are kind of dusty, so we're gonna clean these off real quick. They've been sitting on a shelf for a while. I got 55, 57 plus 10.95 shipping on these brand new dress shoes. The brand is Ted Baker, and you can see $170 tag there on the sole. I picked these up, I think, for like 20, 22 bucks at Marshall's on their clearance sale. Obviously, the box is missing the top. And they took 294 days to sell. All right, so I'm going to get some bubble wrap. Mariah, Imelda, where are you? I'm in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Up in the northwest corner, really close to Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. If you all want to share where you're watching from, I'd love to hear that. You don't obviously have to, but if you feel comfortable sharing, let me know where you are. Mariah says I'm shipping too. I'll say it again if you've been in here for a while. I've already said this, but if you haven't followed or subscribed to the channel, please do that so that you are notified when I go live. You want to click the bell on YouTube. That will tell you exactly when I go live so you can jump in and hang out with us. On Facebook, I think if you just follow me, it'll tell you that too. Patty says, thanks for all your info, new and interested in your spreadsheet and Nifty. Can you explain benefits, differences with using for inventory tracking and expense tracking? Isn't it double entry use both? Just trying to start out using a good inventory and tracking system to begin with. That's a really good question, Patty. I appreciate that. And of course, happy to help you out as best I can. I see you all put in your locations, and I'll acknowledge that in a sec. Thanks for putting that. See some close people here. So I use Nifty and my spreadsheet. I use both, and I have several people who do that. They use both Nifty and their spreadsheet. Nifty really syncs with all of your platforms and pulls in your inventory. So no matter where you're selling, eBay, Poshmark, Depop, Mercari, you'll sync up your platforms. It will pull in your inventory. There's not really manual entry. You don't have to go in and manually type in your inventory. Nifty just pulls it in. Nifty is very easy to use for that reason. You can quickly cross-list your items to other platforms. So the way that I do it is I create an eBay listing, I pull it into Nifty, and then I cross it over to 3 other platforms. It's a matter of a couple of clicks on each platform, really fast. It's the fastest cross-listing service that I've used, and I've tried maybe 2 others. But on top of that, if you don't want to create it in eBay, you can also use their AI tool to create the listing by taking some photos, uploading them. Nifty will automatically create a title, a description. If you've got measurements in there, they'll throw the measurements in. It's just really slick. So you can do that option too. And then in that listing, the AI listing, it will automatically post it to all the platforms that you're on. So that's the second option for Nifty. You've got other things like it shares your closet on Poshmark and Depop. It's constantly like sharing and liking, doing the social aspect, which I've been using that tool for probably 3 or 4 years now to help get sales on Poshmark and Depop. There's just so many great things about Nifty. If you're interested, it's linked in my bio. You'll get a free 7-day trial where you can test it out and see for yourself how great it is, and hopefully get some sales there. And especially if you're on only one platform, consider using Nifty to get onto those other platforms where you can make more sales or faster sales. I think that when I started on eBay, when I started crossing all my items over years ago to other platforms, I made like 3 sales instantly. It was like paid off the first month. So it is a cost, and it's not a cheap service to use, but I will say, if you make 2 or 3 sales, you pay for the service. So think of it as I'm paying to get more sales. Hopefully that's the goal. And and hopefully you're going to make more than 2 or 3 sales by cross listing. So that's nifty. My spreadsheet I really use, and I know that's kind of a detailed way of answering your question, Patty, but my spreadsheet I really use as a tool that cross checks for me in my business. So I do keep a log of my inventory, but I have so many other things like business expense tracking, platform tracking. I've got a profit and loss. There's so many things on the spreadsheet that aren't in Nifty. And I honestly just like having another tool. If Nifty goes down or something's not working right on Nifty, my spreadsheet has been really handy at like telling me, helping me with quality checks. So if for some reason I put something wrong in eBay, my spreadsheet I can look at and see like, oh, here's where it's located, or here's when it was listed. So there's a lot of things on the spreadsheet. You can find it linked as well. You can use code spreadsheet 1010 to get 10% off your order if you choose to take a look at the spreadsheet and purchase. Good for the whole year, and you'll get customer service for the whole year. So you delete a formula 10 months from now, you accidentally do something that messes up the sheet and you're not sure how to fix it, you can always reach out to me. I'll get back to you within a business day and fix your spreadsheet for you. It's usually pretty quick. So that's kind of how I use them in tandem. I've got like 12 different tabs or 14 to 15 different tabs, depending on which sheet you get, that will help you track your business, different aspects of your business. There's a consignment tab on there. There's a store category brands tab. There's a lot that you can see if you when you take a look at my Etsy listing. So thanks for that question. Mariah says Louisiana, close to Arkansas. Imelda is in Oregon. Just we went on vacation October up to Oregon. We went up to Bend. Kellen in sunny Florida. Josephine in Memphis, so another close neighbor. Texas. Yeah, fun. Kind of hitting all over the map. All right, I got to get some packing supplies for these shoes. And I forgot to mention, I said with Nifty, if you want a free trial, you'll get 7 days. But then with that same link, if you decide to purchase your first month, you'll get 15% off of that too. So test it out, play with it for a little bit, see if you like it. You may see that within a couple of days, you make some sales and you're like, heck yes, I want to do this. Is anyone watching already using Nifty or using my spreadsheet or both? If you are, let us know in the chat. This is going to Neosho, Missouri, which is like an hour from me. So it's going to be really cheap to ship this. $7.28. Good morning from Washington. Hey, Jody. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see. It's 8:34 there. 8:34 in Washington and Oregon. All right, that brings us to the very last item. Mariah says, I'm using Nifty Game Changer. Yeah, I mean, there's very few people that use it and stop using it. It's just really slick. Brings us to the very last thing to ship. I'm going to show you how I ship this golf bag. No one said they're from Iowa, but got this Iowa State Cyclones themed golf bag. I paid $15 for this. Let's see, when did I get it? 64 days ago. That's shocking. I thought it was more than that. So 2 months to sell. I had this at 140. Buyer made an offer for 100. I just took it. We're not in golf season. We're about to go into winter. And I was thinking I would love to get this out. It's funny because I actually yesterday thought I saw this sitting over there and I was like, I'm going to have that until spring. And then I got an offer that day. So it's funny how that works out. You're very welcome, Patty. So $100, and then I charged $44.95 to ship it. So it's actually pretty simple to ship this, maybe simpler than you'd think if you're not used to this type of thing. This is what I'm going to use. So this is my last one. I need to go get some more of these, but I'm going to use a U-Haul lamp box. These things are, I think, like $5.95. Pick them up at your local U-Haul, the 12 by 12 by 40. Of course, you're going to see this lamp here. This bag is kind of bigger than typical with these like pockets kind of jutting out. So I think it's going to fit, but most bags that I get will fit in this box. All right, so we got 1/2 the box done. Carolyn says, we'll be using your spreadsheet to start and eventually Nifty. K-Way referred me to you. Awesome. Wayne's killing it. Wayne has just got a lot going on. He's a good guy to know. All right, so we'll see if this can scrunch in here. I think it's going to fit. Yeah, there you go. All right. It's in, and like I said, most golf bags, this box is going to work perfectly for this. Maybe there's one instance out of the many that I've sold that it didn't work because it was just too wide. And those are more of like the staff bags. Staff bags are just like very wide. They've got a lot of pockets and things. So you'd probably they do have another box that's a little bigger that you can use if you do encounter that. But again, this lamp box is huge. It's a great box to use to ship. And I'm basically, just to save on money, I'm going to cut this down because it really is like right there. So we'll cut this down. And one of the important things when you're selling golf bags is, if you look at the top here, I've got a bunch of little dividers. Basically, you count those up. This was a 14-way divider. So I always put that in the title. There's 14 little sections in here for clubs. So however many you have, you just put that in the title. 14-way divider, 4-way divider. Most more modern bags have a lot of sections. No worries, Josephine. Hoping that your reselling takes off. Something like this, I'm always going to like waterproof the seams just in case. So I'll show you something that will hopefully save you a hassle later on. Something like this. Whenever you have these really big boxes, you may not know this, but there's a website where you can look up the what do they call it? I'll have to look at it real quick. It's called the dimensional weight. If you've never shipped like a big item or you didn't know this, the dimensional weight takes into account larger items. So I've got a website bookmark that I go to for items like this because I started noticing when I was shipping these. So real quick, let me just go into eBay and I'll show you kind of what I'm talking about. I need to weigh this first. All right, so we're just under 8 pounds. So we're going to round up to 8. This is a 12 by 12 and 35 in length. 35, 12 by 12. If I put this into eBay, obviously I'm not going to be using USPS. It's too expensive. FedEx is going to give me $22.87. UPS is going to give me $27.47. And before I was just putting the dimensions in, the weight, obviously the dimensions, buying the label, and then going on. And then as I was looking at my monthly eBay statements, I was noticing I was getting charged extra charges for being incorrect shipping on some of these large items. And it was confusing because I'm like, I had called FedEx or UPS, and I'm like, I'm putting in the right dimensions into the platform order. And they were like, well, you need to use the dimensional weight. And the problem is eBay gives you a discount on your shipping. If FedEx charges you, they're charging you at like the store rate, not your eBay rate. So you're getting charged a lot more for that item. So you go to, this is called Red Stag Fulfillment. And you can just Google dimensional weight calculator. And it's got this little calculator where you put in the weight and then you put in dimensions. So 35 by 12 by 12. And then you hit calculate. And it says the dimensional weight is 37 pounds. So now I have to go back into eBay and put in 37 pounds. That seems a lot. I'm hoping I don't get screwed on this. Okay. So I already have the dimensions, the 35 by 12 by 12 in there. I went in and changed the 8 to 37. And now my UPS went from 27 to 31 and FedEx went from, how's that possible? It looks like they went down. Oh, they were at 22. So now they're at 25.96. So if you don't do this and FedEx or UPS charges you, they're going to charge you a lot more than the difference that I'm paying because they're going to charge their rate. So this is something you want to do on your end for packages that are larger like this. And I don't know what point you should start looking that up, but handy to have. Does that make sense? Am I making sense over here this morning? Life with JMK, I forgot. Is that Jody? Yes, Jody in Washington. Jody says, haven't started my reselling journey yet. Need a few more things for picks. Feel a little intimidated regarding the technical and shipping side of things. Totally understandable, Jody. And I kind of echo Mariah's sentiment. You can do it. And just know you're going to make mistakes. You're going to undercharge for shipping, or you're going to get a return, or things are going to happen that are unfortunate, but they just happen. And that's how you learn. We've all made mistakes. It's just that I'm further down the road. I have more experience. I still make mistakes, but I've learned from my mistakes. So props to you for sharing that and being on the beginning stages of looking to get into reselling. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, we're all here for you. So thanks for sharing that. Josephine says, thanks so much. Thank you for answering all our questions and for making wonderful content. It helps a lot. You, Wayne, Surfs, Chris are such a great help. If you want a funny story about Chris, let me know. Chris at Peak is who she's referring to. Dawn says, what about Pirate Ship? Yeah, I can check Pirate Ship. That's a really good it's a really good suggestion too. I sometimes forget to do that. So I'll go over there and check and see if it's any different. Nick on YouTube, 60 this morning and light rain in the desert. Man, the morning's looking really nice over there. Can you re-summarize that shipping? So basically, I put the golf bag in here. I've got the dimensions. It weighs 8 pounds. I went to the dimensional weight calculator website. So just Google dimensional weight calculator. It'll have a little box. It'll say, put in the actual weight. I put in 8 pounds. I put in the length, width, and height, 35 by 12 by 12. I hit calculate. And when I do that, I scroll down and it shows that the dim weight is what they call it, is 37 pounds. So it's not 8 pounds anymore. It's 37 because of it accounts for the large size of this box. So I go back to eBay and instead of 8, I now put in 37 pounds as my weight. My dimensions will stay the same. And so after I do that, FedEx went from 22 and change to almost 26. So that's how you do that. $4 difference for the dim weight on this. But like I said before, if you forget to do that, FedEx would probably charge me $20 more for the difference on their rate. So it's really important you get that in at the beginning. Put a thumbs up in the comments on YouTube and Facebook if you know Chris at Peak. If you follow Chris at Peak, you see his content, you jump in his lives, you know who he is. Let me know. I'll share a story with you in just a second. I'm going to get this shipped out. I'm just double checking rates here to make sure I have the cheapest one. FedEx is going to be it. That's typically where I find my cheapest rate. FedEx, $25.96. So on this golf bag, 2 months later, paid $15. It returns $73.65. Nick's got a thumbs up. NRC has a thumbs up. A lot of people know who Chris is, and for good reason. He is a rock star. He's awesome. Whenever you find someone who is genuine and just naturally wants to help, like unselfishly wants to help, is very knowledgeable and very positive, that's Chris. So I'm happy to be running alongside Chris. We talk weekly, almost every day. He's a great resource to have. He's challenged me in ways that has pushed my business further, and I believe I've done the same for him as well. Oh, I bought the label and I didn't even check Pirate Ship, so I'll go check it real quick and see. I said I was going to do it, and I got to yapping and got carried away. Another reason why this rate was so cheap is because it went from Arkansas to Iowa. If it was going to Oregon, I would have paid $10 to $15 more for that same one, just because of the distance. So I'm just going to throw in. I'll get to my Chris story in just a second. I actually want to, just because I said I would, I want to check to see, just as a fun little experiment, the difference in eBay's FedEx rate versus Pirate Ship. Unfortunately, because I already shipped it, I can't import it into Pirate Ship like I usually would be able to. Okay. So let's take a look and see what kind of rates we'd be looking at. So with Pirate Ship, you only have the option for USPS and FedEx. You don't have, or sorry, UPS, USPS and UPS. You don't have FedEx, which is statistically the cheapest for me. Pirate Ship, USPS is 104, which is significantly higher. UPS is 29.49, which is coming in a couple bucks cheaper than the rate on eBay. But again, I paid 25.96 for FedEx, so um, my cheapest rate was on eBay. But that's good to know. If you have a Pirate Ship account and it's free, Pirate Ship, you can ship your. That's what I use to ship my international orders. You can always do some like comparison shopping for shipping there to see if you can get a cheaper rate. Um, Carolyn says Peakster. NRC, no, I didn't do calculated. I did a flat rate of 44.95 on the golf bag. Okay, funny Chris story. I kind of teased it. I want to make sure to share that. So Chris and I met. We were both living in Denver at the time. This was 20, maybe 16 or 17. My wife and Chris both got hired on at a company, started day one together for like the same role. So they were working together as like colleagues at a company in Denver. And so my wife was working with Chris back in 2016, 2017, somewhere in there. At that time, I was reselling. And so one night, Angela's like, let's have Chris and Kim over for dinner. So we invited them over to our house for dinner and, got to talking as you do. And I shared that I sell on eBay. And so he was really intrigued with that. He was like, hey, I have some stuff. Can you sell it for me? And I was like, sure. So he gave me some items. I sold it for him. But he got really intrigued with eBay. So he was like, tell me about your business. Like, what are you doing? At this point, I was full time. So I was just like, well, I mean, I shared with him a little bit about the business. So like, why don't you just come thrift with me? Come thrift with me and, I'll show you what I'm picking up and you can do this yourself. I had a full-time job. I was just doing it on the side. And so, I don't know if it was like a Saturday morning at some point, he showed up. We went to this huge thrift store. We both like took an aisle and he would just pull stuff off. And I was like, don't buy that. That's not good. Don't buy that. Put that back. Yep. That's a good one. And I was just teaching him along the way, like, here's what you look for at the time, like 2018, several years ago, that's selling. So we would start to talk like voice memos back and forth and text and things like that. And he'd be like, hey, I'd ask him like, did you sell that ski jacket or what are sales looking like? And I mean, he was still working with my wife. So he knew my wife more than me really at the time because they were working together every day. And then he built it up. And as we continued sharing like tips and how things were going back and forth, he eventually got to the point where he was like, I think I want to quit my job and go full time. And he's probably shared this story with others, but he had set to quit his job like the November or December. Maybe he had put in his notice or something, or he had communicated like, I want to go down to part time. No, he had said he was going to quit, and it was right before COVID. That's what it was. It was right before COVID, and he was like, "Well, I don't want to quit now. I mean, I need that money coming in." And so he basically was like, "Okay, I know I said I wanted to quit, but can I work like part time, or can you keep me on just for a while to kind of weather the storm?" And the company was like, "Yes." So he and I, gosh, he quit in like 20. I guess it would have been 2020. So November of 2020, he went full time. And so we've been friends ever since. We talk every day almost, sharing our strategies for content, for reselling, just challenging one another. So Chris has been a good guy. That's my Chris story. Nick Smith says, two flipping dudes. Yeah, I forgot about that. We used to have call it a podcast or a show where we'd go live once a week at night and we would compete against like who had the biggest sale that week, who had the slowest sale. who had the coolest find, and we would just talk all things reselling. So it was a lot of fun. And there's some OGs like Nick who remember those back in the day as they were joining us on those. If you're not following Chris at Peak, make sure to follow him. He's probably live right now. He goes live every day shipping. Mariah says, do you have the eBay listing set to choose FedEx, or do you just decide to do that after the fact? Does the buyer care if they think it's coming USPS? Most of the time, no, they don't care. Of course, there's always going to be someone who's more particular and does care. Maybe they've had a bad experience with their address with a certain courier or company, but I just choose when I'm shipping something, it just says like standard shipping, or I think it just says standard shipping. So it doesn't specify whether it's going to be USPS, UPS, or FedEx. Yeah, Chris uses my spreadsheet. He's been using it for 4 or 5 years now. Yeah, he's a good dude. Nick says, you guys took me from a casual eBay seller since 2013 to a regular part-time seller earning about $30K a year for vacations. Man, that's amazing, Nick. Thanks for sharing those numbers. $30K a year vacations. Those are some solid vacations. I need to go on vacation with Nick. That's what I'm learning. Jody, I'm not on Whatnot. I did it for a couple months and then just, it wasn't for me. Yeah, you all are welcome. Make sure I didn't miss anything here. Patty says, everything that scares me as a beginner is Vero on eBay. Yeah. At some point, Patty, you just got to jump. There are always going to be things that can trip you up, and you'll learn from them. You'll get stronger. We've all had the Vero stories. You know, just take those steps and go for it. You can do it. And we're all here to support you in it. So when you start making some sales and get some listings up, let us know. It's amazing how, with the phone in your pocket, you can take pictures, you can run a business. You don't really need a lot, especially with technology nowadays. Lighting does help and it will boost your sales, but to get started, you don't need lights. You don't need a huge shipping station. A scale. Here's my scale for $30 on Amazon. It's been with me since 2016. Just a few supplies that you can scrounge up around the house or go, dumpster diving for, or purchase online, or just taking stuff that you buy, taking the boxes that come in the mail and using those. You don't really need a lot. And then think about it, like once you get rolling and once you start to make sales consistently, then you can start purchasing things that will really boost your business, like lights and a nice printer and things like that. Nick says, Nick's flexing over here. Recently got back from St. Lucia in the Caribbean. That's amazing. Never been there before. I hate when you guys are live at the same time, but I usually catch the replay. Cool. Yeah, we do go live at the same time. It's like Surfs. I think he goes live early. Sometimes it's late at night. Sometimes it's early. You, Chris, and your wives are welcome to join. Heck yeah, we're going to take you up on that. I'm texting Chris right now. That would be fun, though, in all seriousness. Did I miss anything else? Okay, I think that's pretty much it, guys. I got nothing else to ship. The one thing I'll say, just kind of as a add-on to what I just said, getting started, consistency is the key. With anything, really, like staying consistent, whether you're creating content or reselling or building a business, what have you. If you want to be successful, you've got to keep showing up day after day after day. And there will be people out there who will say like, oh, you can do this quickly, and look how much I made in just 30 days. And honestly, most things that succeed are things that take time, building a foundation, learning. It's not a microwave approach. It is a long, drawn out process. Um, Context is, and I'm not an OG eBay guy. I wouldn't say from like the late 90s or early 2000s, but I started in 2016 building this business and went full time in 2018. And obviously, I've been doing this since. Um, so you can do it. It just takes showing up. It just takes putting in the work and staying teachable and learning new things. I guess other than that, that's all I got. But you can do it. Jody says I got a set of 2 box lights, like new, for $50 on Marketplace. I upgraded my lights, and I've been toying with just giving away my old lights on a giveaway. So maybe someday I will get around to doing that, giving away my box lights for someone who's like a newer reseller looking to step up their picture game a little bit. Okay, guys, that's all I got. Remember, if you're looking into Nifty, if you're looking for the spreadsheet, if you're looking for any of these supplies I use, they're all linked on my bio on Facebook. You can find it in the description of this video on YouTube. It's all there. So if you have any questions about how Nifty operates or questions about my spreadsheet, always reach out and I'll get back to you. Yeah, Nick, you are very welcome. You all have a great day. Happy sales, happy hunting. Let's go and get it. We'll see you soon.